Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the ESL Pro League coming at you hot with day number 2. Of course, up first, we've got Misfits versus CLG. Not quite ready to go just as of yet, but we are going to be getting into the action quite soon. So, stay tuned. Launders, we saw some pretty heavy executes and some pretty default CS coming out of CLG yesterday, and that was versus Cloud9. I think that when you have Misfits on the other side of the table, we can expect that same sort of CS?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a clash of styles in that regard. It'll be a lot of slow play. We can kind of see that CLG had a lot of method to their madness in that when they played Cloud9, it was a matter of finding out what worked based on how Cloud9 were playing and not trying to make them play their own game, and then using that until it didn't work anymore and then moving on to something else, another exploit. So pretty simple, pretty reactive. It's something that you can use that's sustainable versus any team, and it's really just up to that team to figure you out while the game's going on. And I think, I don't know what exactly Ryu has incorporated into their style that maybe is pushing them towards this kind of Counter-Strike, but it seemed to work really well yesterday. We know that it's not the same or full Cloud9 by any stretch of the imagination, but Misfits, I think, are going to be a team that maybe don't have as much skill as Cloud9, maybe not in the same pedigree. They have Shazam, who's definitely a star, but and Omnic, Devo Dubek, definitely really good players as well, but at the same time, I think just based on the results, not quite on at the same tier. So with them both moving slowly, it can be quite difficult either way. Yeah.
One thing when it comes to Mirage that I think some teams are generally lackluster with is the ability to execute into the B-bomb site. I feel like when you're playing T-side Mirage, everybody, even an impromptu pug team, can go for the standard A site take. We know those classic smoke grenades of Ticket, the top of stairs, and then the cross towards jungle. And sure enough, there's slight variations on those, variations that I'm assuming Misfits will use because they do like to have that depth to their executions. But the B bomb site is one that I personally find is way too underplayed. There's a lot of really cool plays you can make with Molotovs towards short that push players off of catwalk, and that's something that kind of intrigues me, is whether or not we'll see the depth of both of these teams, who yesterday we saw CLG playing executions, and Misfits, we know that's one of their go-to play styles. If whether or not that we'll have that cleaner execution-based CS towards the B site. I just have that personal feeling that it's very underplayed. I feel like, again, everybody knows A smokes, nobody goes towards B site.
Yeah, A is definitely more used because I think number one, a large reason is it's a much closer site, and then the other one is that there are so many ways to use smokes to section off the site for different types of splits. And with mid control being so popular, it's actually a lot harder to get up cat without getting shot because there's like a safe area and window, there's safe angles and connector, and then there's obviously your cat player as well to have to avoid people. And so when you go up connector, for example, you don't have to worry about window, and there's a little bit less trouble, and that's why it becomes a little bit more favorable.
All right. Well, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we hope each and every one of you does stay tuned. We're going to throw this one to a short break, and we'll be back with the action here at the ESL Pro League.
Game, record, and stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
It's going to be absolutely electrifying. I can't wait for this.
Indeed, New York is about to get doublet.
Have you ever just stolen it from them? It is going to be unreal.
I'm telling you, this ESL, this Electronic Sports League, is going to get nothing but bigger.
Be focused. Be uncompromising. Be the best and never hold out. Pick your event. Place your bet. No matter who you are or what you're here for, it's our passion that unites us. Betway, for the love of the game.
Counterlogic Gaming and Misfits is what is about to be underway. And so, you should all be excited. As excited as we are, Mohan.
Yeah, very excited. We get to see CLG play a team with a roster that has not changed since last season, with CLG with a new coach, so maybe a couple of different elements to their game. I don't know if Misfits are going to factor that in when they think about how they're going to play themselves on Mirage, but again, I think I'm going to have to, we didn't do predictions ourselves, but I would say that I think CLG are probably favored on this map as well as James.
Yeah, I'd put myself in the camp with you guys. I just feel like this is kind of a nice home territory for them. I think that Misfits are going to be a contender, though. Kind of, synonymous to what James was saying. I would be surprised if this isn't a closer scoreline than not. But only time shall tell. What though? Only time shall tell, Wanders.
Who's Chantel?
Don't ask.
Counter-terrorists win.
And obviously there is like the prevalent meta on Mirage is a lot of mid control, and that's because for terrorists taking mid it's pretty much guaranteed to be able to hang on to top boxes with a simple top cat smoke, and then work on getting towards connector or window or cat control very easily. And with any type of mid control in any 3-lane map, the reason why you want to do it is because splitting a site is always the most ideal possible way to hit one. If you can keep all your people alive, then that's because if you come to connector stairs, for example, no one can be standing at triple and be watching you and A ramp and be safe. Or one of the only spots on the site now becomes default or sandwich, and that also allows your A ramp players to come up and not have to clear things. And because there's so much, it's so difficult for CTs to stop Ts from taking top mid, whether or not they use it, a lot of the times teams will go there first, just kind of establish themselves, throw a couple grenades out, bait some grenades themselves, and maybe look for some fights, because that's the other benefit, is that anytime you can take a fight, even up to like 50-50 as a terrorist, you almost want to go for it, at least for the initial duels. When it starts to get really hairy, like you lose 2 players right away, you have to think of something else, like maybe group, or if you have someone in a really good lurk position, have them or activate them. But otherwise mid is a really good place to look for initial engagements, even though CTs won't always often give those up anymore, and then work on thinking about splitting a site. CLG did win yesterday, both times versus Cloud9, and we didn't get to see them play Mirage, but I think the style that we saw them play on Trained is a style that we're going to see from them on this map as well.
I think that that's one of the more interesting kind of narratives that we can draw upon here versus Misfits, is that while we get to watch CLG in back-to-back nights, it's going to be versus a very different style of opponent. I mean, again, Misfits is in this camp of teams who don't make any roster changes, who, while they did take that 1-month player break, are at least not having to start from completely fresh. And CLG is there as well. So I'm really looking forward to maybe some slower execution-based CS. I want to look for the fine-tuned details that maybe Misfits could be throwing the way of CLG, and then to see whether or not CLG can survive and hang on as well as they did versus Cloud9 yesterday. Again, Cloud9's definitely going to be edging Misfits in terms of individual skill, in terms of aim and raw aggression, but that's what's kind of interesting for CLG, is they're up against a whole new beast here tonight. And they're coming off of a great 2-0 start to the season. I mean, it's not just a 2-0 win versus one of the lower echelon opponents. We're talking about Cloud9. So they're feeling good, I'm sure, and we shall see, of course, if maybe Finesse can put up some stronger numbers than last night. In both of those maps, actually, he was quite absent, and I can't help but wonder if that's, you know, while they do have Ryu still in server, or in their ear, rather, we have the removal of Imapet from this team, and I feel like FNS is definitely going to have recently picked up some of that weight, and whether that weight is kind of holding him back. I hope not. I think he is a great player. I think that he can tap into his potential, and hopefully that's what we get here tonight.
The one thing that Imapet can't take is the knowledge that he already gave them. So if it was really good and they have been using it, they've been incorporating it into their style. Maybe there's some stuff that they overlooked that they didn't really appreciate while he was on the team. Well, now they can hang on to that, look back at the tapes or whatever he used to record or give them information on, and study that, maybe learn from it, make themselves a better team, and kill two birds with one stone. But here we are into the pistol round of the first map of the day, Misfits versus Counterlogic Gaming, and what looks like a quick A execute right off the bat. 2 smokes in total up A site.
Already those grenades are going to start to rain over as well. Sick. Just jumping and offsetting the crosshair of the man towards Ticket, Ethan, who is now side by side with Kusta. So the A site's completely forfeited. Sean Gares is easily going to find the bomb plant. We've got ourselves a 5v5 retake. Of course, Shazam has gotten aggressive, and he's gotten himself the kill. Onto Finesse, traded back by Cutler, who still attempts to clear out the jungle. But that jungle's full of all sorts of beasts. Beasts that now which move into Connector. Everybody here from Misfits just changing direction, giving up that position for CLG, and allowing for them to get closer. But it's Devaduvic to the back of Firebox that pries them in 2 directions. Sick with another kill, and Devaduvic's still standing. These kills are just not coming in until now. Cutler able to find one more, and so it's all on Sick. He spots the man with the kit, but down he goes. Oh, Misfits with the pistol.
Yeah, CLG, no kit on any player left, and even though Cutler got all those kills and they came so close, they needed that defuse. Misfits ran a really interesting strategy, and again, that's what we were talking about. That's so cool about A-Site, is that it's so versatile. You can do so many different kinds of executes depending on where you want to throw your smokes. And the line of sight that they were focusing on blocking off was CT, because every single player wanted to push into Connector and try to get control of it. So those are really great after plan spots there as well, as long as you have the support to back you up. And running through jungle was their one liability, because they didn't throw a smoke there. They were hoping nobody was going to be trying to pick them off crossing window, or that if they did, they've had a lot of success previously fighting them from stairs with 2 or 3 people, maybe making them at least shy away. And for whatever reason, CLG weren't prepared to deal with that at all, allowing for the plant to go down really, really quickly, which made the retake that much more difficult.
Despite that retake being successful, it just wasn't enough time, so Misfits got the job done. They get themselves their opening pistol. We saw a little bit of mid-pressure here from CLG as Finesse gets pushed up forward, having the support of Rikke on that deagle from the windowsill. But Misfits, they played patient, sat back, waited to see if Counterlogic Gaming were going to overextend themselves, and when they didn't, everybody starts to group up towards the B site. So this should be a freebie round, all things considered. A couple of grenades go sailing forward as the terrorists push inwards.
Really appreciate Molotovs as opposed to smokes on anti-ecos, just because smokes can actually use for pistols to get closer than they would have normally been able to do. And Molotovs, wherever you can't stand in them, you can make sure that angles that are very hard to clear are completely clear without having to actually peek. And a really great addition to CSGO, Molotovs, something we haven't had in the past in Counter-Strike.
Now, of course, Rikke had gotten himself towards Marketplace, and Cutler does get one kill, but now it's Shazam who starts to punch his way out of this box. Of course, Ethan is still alive and offers up his heals. Unfortunate for him is that moment, but Devaduvic, Amanek, and Sick will survive at the time being. Cutler is being pinched in from 2 directions, so he too toppled. That's Misfits converting the point, but at least some solid damage here by CLG.
Yeah, the 2 kills is quota for that round, I think. The only difficult part is that they're going to have to try to do 2 to 3 this round without any armor. Cutler's going to be buying a grenade because he has a little bit of extra money. Actually, going to indulge in a deagle as well. And last round, we saw a congregation of CTs towards A site, in and around it, with some attention towards mid as well. And it's always good for pistols to stick together, just get as much damage into one concentrated area as possible, because they're going up against guns that have way higher DPS. And yeah, that's a bunch of players right now sitting either inside window or just inside.
Solid bushel of CTs. They all start to just reel backwards here. So having heard those grenades starting to plume over on that A site, they're going to try to just wrap back through their spawn. Maybe, again, put up some kind of a fight, but that's such a disadvantage. You can't imagine they don't get much done. Sean Gare's starting to spot them as they flood forward, and as he gets hit up, he will cower to the safety of the palace. Sick and Devaduvic taking 2. Cutler trying to find 1, and a bit of a mishap will cost Misfits 1 of their lives. But look at all that damage dealt. Yeah,
close but no cigar, and they ended up only losing 1 person. Fortunately for CLG, is Misfits, who ends up taking that life, but that's all she wrote for the Anticos. Now we have CLG on a buy-up. FNS didn't actually have that much money, so funnily enough, can only afford a FAMAS. The fact that they didn't get any kills actually plays into the fact that they can't afford all the guns they want, or just head armor across the board, for example. I think 0 kills on 2 players. Sick's going to be throwing this smoke at the end of apps just to deny line of sight and allow Misfits, as we can see, to creep up close to the B site and get in easily when the execute takes place.
Now in the second round, we saw them smoke off both sides of the archways, Molotovs towards Van, and this time they're just going to be running out a little quicker. Of course, Sick gets fully blinded, Devaduvic taking 1, but it's Finesse who comes coming out of the corner, finding a kill. Meanwhile, Marketplace gets punched down. That's Devaduvic immediately removing Ethan and allowing for that bomb plant to be found quite easily at that. And Kusta takes 1 to the dome as Devaduvic furthers himself forward. Poor CLG come up near empty-handed, only 1 kill despite a full investment.
Gotta love that strategy. Real simple, just initial smoke on the run to the end of halls to make sure that no one can peek it, and if there's an opper that's standing on the back of Van, they're not going to jump through it. If they're on top, they push through. There's a couple of people waiting so they can trade out, and then from there, just a straight up execute because they're so close and they haven't seen any counter nades, which is probably the only reason they were holding in the first place. Even versus 2 players were able to work their way in no problem. So once again, just Cutler left alone at Firebox, and Sean actually jumps up the back of it, catches him off guard, takes him out of the round, and we move into the 5th round. CLG have no money to buy. Half armor for Finesse. Rikke with that Zeus.
He likes to buy that. We did see him pick up a kill with it yesterday.
You buy it 5 times, you get 1 kill. It's worth it.
Yeah. Especially when yesterday his kill got him an op.
Good point.
A couple of frag grenades here to soften up their targets. Misfits still sitting back, and Shazam finding the unarmed Kusta. Of course, this allows for Rikke to get up close and personal, still with that Zeus, but another shot from the op will connect, and another kill for Misfits on the board. Now they are playing patient yet once more, just sitting back, allowing for CLG to throw a couple players their way, and then taking the reins of the round, pushing forward after the fact and clearing pretty much everyone up. Sure enough, damage was dealt, and Ethan takes 1 kill, but it's all on Finesse. He's only got the CZ.
They really did take control of this round. The bomb hasn't gone down yet because there's a minute left. All they have to do is kill everybody, or quite simply wait until it's perfectly safe. There's absolutely no reason to have his hands be busy at a time where there's no opportunity for CLG to get anything done. There's no way to bait attention as 1 person on the map. And FNS is in a tricky spot. I mean, they're half expecting him to come CT, and now that they've spotted him, can focus all their attention here, and all he wants to do is try to get exit frags if possible. And all Misfits want to do is avoid that situation.
Shazam being down to a fifth of his health. It's going to have to fall off this angle soon enough, so Finesse should survive. Nobody really overextending here, so Misfits in a really prime spot. I mean, 5-0 straight out of the gates, not to mention the fact that most of these rounds have gone near unanswered in the form of kills. I mean, we've got a lot of players with a lot of cash right now on Misfits, and if they can continue to steamroll this, then they're going to put themselves in a fantastic spot for the second half. But already, we see a slight change up here from CLG. We've got that double op setup finally afforded on both Rikke and Kusta. Shazam going to get in front of the smoke grenade. Then the flashbang goes to his feet. The flick near connects, but Ricke's going to linger here. He's going to try and force this fight. Really wants that 5v4 to the CT's favor.
I like Shazam here, just fighting with the Molly himself, clearing out all the spots, baiting tons of utility. He's just one man, but he's keeping the attention of two at B, and has actually caused a rotate, which is interesting because Misfits have decided to work their way up cat with 3 players, meaning that they are going to walk right into this.
Sick finds Finesse up close on the smoke, and they should be able to pinch, but Rikke cuts off one head of the snake, and Kusta takes the kill to Shaz. So now Rikke, feeling the heat, is going to get pushed into the open. Amanek burns him to a crisp, and Kusta takes another kill. Cutler, still up to the backside of the bench, only has to find Devaduvic. They peak at the exact same time. Great play by CLG, but unfortunately for them, it's only one man alive at the end of the fight.
Yeah, we could see Devaduvic obviously have the opportunity to win there, but that is the absolute best way to guarantee it in a 2v1 is to peak at the exact same time. That or just have like a perfect crossfire in a situation where they have to pass you to be able to plant the bomb or something else. And CLG handled that really well. And the funny part is Misfits were doing a good job early round. Again, baiting all the utility out from the B players. It really did have to come down to frags for CLG at the end of it. But because CLG for some reason got the tip that it was almost certainly going to be B, they rotated. And I wonder if this is a call for any kind of fake.
Already Misfits poised for a fast A play. Ethan catching a man to the top side of Tetris, traded back by Sean, but Cutler from the corner finding another. All off of the SMG. Man to the top side, responds back as Finesse does the same, and so it's a trade game, back and forth, leaving CLG with a man advantage, but one of which on very low health. Finesse sitting on 19, and he's going to go for the long con, all the way through T-spawn, as Shazam tries to cross towards site. Now there's going to be no smoke grenade to block off CT spawn, but right now, Rikke is not trying to force this fight, almost giving up the opportunity for the bomb plant as Finesse just decides to hold his legs in place. Not moving all the way to the ramp just yet, but that flank's still in a prime spot. And of course, now the bomb's gone down.
Obviously where it gets very difficult for the terrorists, but now that they've got the bomb down and can kind of look for that first unfair fight for them, it becomes a bit easier.
Shazam still posted on the angle. Rikke toying with him at the moment. Flashbangs coming in from the top of staircase where now Kusta's spotted. He's got an op of his own and he wins that duel, putting it all on Devaduvic, who also goes down. That's CLG converting the round because this time Kusta's got the kit.
Hey, yo. Yeah, he's got the kit, he seals it up. Good couple of kills there. That was a tough shot. I mean, everybody loves to be at Firebox and just shoot the head off the guy who's peeking from stairs. We could see Kusta put all his eggs in one basket. If he missed that shot, Shazam definitely wouldn't have, as it's much easier for him just waiting there. But very confident, of course, the young talented Opper. And now, after what looked like a lot of fast rounds from Misfits, they've slowed down the pace, going for a straight-up default. A little bit of mid-presence, very passive at B, and the bomb station up at A-ramp, but I don't think that tells us anything quite yet. Instead, again, I think in a default, one of your main priorities is to try to bait out as much utility as possible for as little of your own, and also get as much information and map control for free before doing anything risky with your team.
Amanek could have been the man to combine forces on mid. allowing for Misfits to split it. Instead, Sick will support Shazam, as he does still have his op. And Kusta the same. 2 players to the side of Connector, but nobody over in window, nobody up on Cat. Though he hears that tick of damage, so he goes for the peek. Nice read. Good set of ears on Sick. Gets him that opening kill to Ethan. And now Misfits start to put their forces over towards this A site. So relying back on an execution that was successful so far.
So we have FNS pushed up very far in B-App, so he's calling for the rotate to A. So they're actually running into the wrong site one more time.
We'll see if they can still get their way through. Catching Kusta to the top side of Ticket. Cutler dropped by Amanek, and suddenly Misfits have themselves the bomb site and the 2v5. 15 seconds left over. Bomb yet to be planted. It's going to be put down to the side of the tri-stack as Finesse looks to come in on underpass. Sick looks to hunt.
Tough for CLG there. They were perfectly prepared for it with that rotation in. FNS made the right call, having his teammates leave him. One of the reasons that even if you're by yourself, if you're pushed up and have that much information that you can call for a rotation, is because even if you die without getting a kill, well, you're giving your team a lot of time to get back to your site before the terrorists can actually get in. Whereas if you die in the site, well, maybe that guy can go and plant the bomb immediately. So it's a big difference, and even with that information, however, Misfits were able to, with their timing, catch that Ticket player off guard. Maybe he shouldn't have been jumping up on the boxes considering the potential for people to come out both Palace and A-Ramp.
Definitely catching him with his pants down. And then just immediately opening up the bomb site. I mean, he's just standing there for the taking. And then this kill here was Rikke trying to retrieve that AWP. The moment he goes down, Finesse was all that's left. And while he does take down 2, he too dropped out of the equation. Dropped out of the save, which we now find CLG on, barring the CZ of Finesse and the Zeus of Rikke.
Misfits are an interesting team to cast because they always have a lot of purpose, I want to say, to every decision they make. Considering, you know, you're always wondering what Sean's thinking, and it's always based off of the information that's at hand, and it doesn't really ever seem like a complete gamble. But we're also seeing a war of the minds where FNS is probably helping to call the correct sites to stack at times, and it does come down to a lot of the aim duels, which has provided an interesting bout. Here we have the 3B stack from CLG, with a lot of players from Misfits stationed up. They're almost certainly going to hit B in this situation. Like, selling some kind of crazy double fake wouldn't make sense. Waiting for someone to push and for CLG to look for information. And what they've actually done is waited them out to the point of second-guessing the site they stacked, which is just kind of a side effect of taking your time. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they made the right decision. They're actually walking back to an A split, and they're kind of spread out right now, which I'm not sure if they're aware that it is an eco round.
Oh, Sean looks away as Rikke starts to burn. Finesse inside the corner goes down as Sean hits the headshot, but Ethan's able to respond back with his USP and then deal more damage onto Amanek. This is a 3v3, but Kusta gets cleared out from beneath, and there's Ethan with another. But now it's all on Cutler, 1v2, 5 seconds left. All he has to do is survive. He crosses back, and it's gonna happen. Counter Logic Gaming pick up a round they have no business winning.
Okay, Misfits took a little bit, they took a long time to pick what site they wanted to go to. It seemed like around the 45-second mark, they could have just went into B with 5 players, and CLG were all moving towards A. And it doesn't actually matter which site you go to, even if there are 5 players there. Those were players with USPs and no armor and no nades. So it shouldn't have been a problem for them anyway. I think the only problem with their split was the fact that they were the 5 players who got quite spread out by the time of their execution. Whereas if they had, for example, come all out of Palace, it would have been much easier to trade those frags. And I think that with the time ticking down, maybe losing track of the clock because they seem to get a bit hasty in that situation and maybe panicked even.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to start to panic once you start to lose a couple of players there. That's definitely not going to help with the confusion that starts to unfold.
The best part is it was 5v4 even. They got Rikke in window.
Very true. They had their opener, they had the map control, but they do not have the round. Finesse with an opportunity to spray down, but he gets dropped off of the bomb site as Sick looks for the double. Instead, Cutler stops him then and there. As the smoke grenades provide cover for the bomb plant, Kusta catches windowsill. But he also catches fire and has to fall off of the angle. Misfits doing a very good job with their utility, I'd say. Not only on the executions, but then the follow-ups as well. However, it doesn't keep Sean alive. Kusta catches him off of the catwalk as Devaduvic bounces back with a frag. Again, finding good success inside of Marketplace. Ethan tries to crab walk back in, but now it's only Kusta, and the smoke can't even save him. It's another round for Misfits. To 7-3 we go.
A lot of that round comes down to if their big flank player is able to get a kill. The best after plant spot on B is the apartments that you come out of when you hit the site. So any CT that's coming around back works out hugely in the CT's favor as long as there's no one waiting for him. And it seemed like Shazam was kind of, but he was in a position where he was happy to give it up. And so if Ricky was able to find that kill somehow, it's kind of on. But apart from that, B site is very difficult to retake. The choke points are tiny, with the market door and window being only giving room for one person to come out at a time. And Cat is obviously such a long angle that is fought from both default and the main site box as well as bench that you can't just even use one smoke to help you get through it.
Now, despite this disadvantageous buy, Sick is caught off already. 5v4 as we hit the minute mark. Start to watch CLG shift their attention back into the B site.
And from there, it's tough. Misfits are in already a worse position than they were, and CLG are now able to afford at least half armor to supplement their buy. They are kind of defaulted, which I don't quite like as much. One stark difference from that full-on pistol round was that they moved together. Here they're 3 players now in B, which is a good thing for them, but it's obviously A that Misfits want to go to, so at least they have the good sight read, and they haven't focused on mid, which is something I like to avoid versus pistols.
Oh, Ricky finding 2. Sure enough, he gets removed, and Finesse still stands by with 3 players now ready to arrive. 2 Ts left over. They need to cover the bomb plant. Shazam gets dropped down, so it's all on Amanek. He's going to deploy the smoke up close. Tagged to 12 HP. Able to find 1, but they've done it yet again. CLG with an upset off the pistols. I'd say thanks to Ricky.
Yeah, shout out to Ricky. Those 3 1-digs. The initial one was rough, and then, I mean, those last 2 super clean. You're going to have to take a look at that one more time.
He just blindsides this first one. Never sees it coming.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Nope.
You just take it.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to just take it.
Great hold. I mean, at that point, 4 versus 2 on the bomb site. Shazam gets caught off guard by the man jumping through smoke grenades.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a call. It's like, all right, we'll just all go in together right now.
Yeah, overwhelmed.
They're probably going to try to plant because you can't plant without a smoke on the site. That's the difficult part about A, if you take too long. And they went off the back of that. The bomb gets dropped. And there's a lot to lose right here. Oh, 2 kills for Kusta, that's big. He gets information, knows that there's a couple more players. The bomb was up there. They intended to go B.
Frag grenade softens up the remainder of Misfits, all of which are still inside of apps. Amanek going back just to check the flank out as Shazam tries to pry into the bomb site itself. Ricky has the cover, but spots the barrel. Tries to distract with the ball bang, but Finesse not willing to jump up here, aware that someone could be watching this.
I don't know if they're trying to wait for Amanek to get something done, but it's hard for me to see a use for him in this situation.
Ricky will shave off the head of Shazam. So it's just down to the Frenchmen, both of which on half health. 40 seconds left to play off of. We saw a B-site split attempt prior to this, and they're going to try it yet again. So Amanek's got a bit of a position here. Finesse is not watching his other side, so this kill could allow for Devidovic to push in. They're going to be able to fixate on the bomb site itself. Rikke seen the back of bench and another inside of market. Rikke extinguishing the flames, keeps himself alive, but only by a smidgen of HP. Amanek finds another headshot. He knows that Rikke's here. He knows where both players are, actually, but he doesn't have much time left to play off of.
What's he?
Staying alive, trying to retreat.
Oh, man. I mean, I usually am not critical of what mechanical decisions players make because, I mean, oh, and he dies after time, too. I feel like, I mean, he doesn't know how low Rikke is there, right? But he knows he's there. A couple of bullets into the smoke, I feel like couldn't hurt. In that situation, that did come really close, though. And the other thing is that if whoever it was in apps that died, I think it might have been Shazam, if they were waiting for Amanek and delaying for him to get something done at mid, if they had just waited that entire time, maybe he does get up cat and then they can properly just split it 3 players versus however many. But instead, maybe pulled the trigger a little bit too early in B apps, and it's probably because they felt, okay, we're 3v4, we've maybe wanted to try to even up. They also know exactly what our plan is at this moment, so it doesn't make sense to simply go out to just perfectly time something. We've got to make a play first.
Now we've seen CLG with success off the pistols. It's going to be Misfits near unarmed this time round. Cutler, though, already down. The headshot connects as the op of Kusta does the same. Ethan spotting targets and calling for the rotation. Bomb yet to cross as Misfits gets up close, but Ethan finds another. And Kusta's in such a prime position here to stop this bomb. Should still be a matter of time, although the man coming in from connector could really be an issue. Kusta's wary of it. A little bit of an informational play, boosting Sick to the top side. Still enough time to tuck tail if need be, but Rikke finds Shaz. Bomb dropped. Both players for Misfits sectioned off.
Yep. And at this point, it just becomes a play for damage. 20 seconds, that bomb's in too tough of a spot to go and try to get. I mean, the CTs, you know, we're playing super safe. They might just give up the plant here. But looks like they want to come around. Amanek goes down, close to 5 seconds left in the round. And CLG, another round where they keep 4 alive, have a buy-up on every single one of their players, so a little bit in the reserves. That's really nice for them. Misfits have decided to go 5 AKs on this round, maybe doing something a little bit faster. We saw a lot of their fast executions actually pan out quite well. And apart from losing their ecos, have had a pretty good T-half, I want to say, overall. Taking a little bit too much damage at times, but if they're able to come out 9-6, for example, that won't be anything to write home about.
It's not Kusta getting aggressive towards the apartments this time. Instead, it's Finesse. He's got Kusta by his side. So these two players are acquiring a lot of information. We've got a forward positioning from both bomb sites here on CLG. Not playing ticket, but instead taking ramp. While Finesse starts to flank into underpass, Kusta has fallen back, but this leaves Catwalk wide open. Sean Gayers is already inside of the ladder room. Can't help but feel like this is another one of these moments where Misfits are just trying to posture up. And it's during that posturing that Finesse finds Amanek first and foremost.
FNS playing this extremely well. He just has so much information. If you just track all of the area that he's covered with his model and everything that he's seen in blue, he's got this side of the map completely eaten out, basically. He's and all the while, Misfits have excavated mid. Even with that, they don't have the ability to win right now. Even Ethan getting aggressive at A ramp, and that's what you do. You push extremities when mid control is taken. Very textbook CS.
Very nicely done. Cleanly converting this round as Sean's now all that's left. Sure enough, he finds a kill on Catwalk, but 10 seconds left, leaves him cut off, and then Rikke takes him down. So, game's all tied up, 7 apiece, as CLG have certainly made something of this half. Considering how this started with a commandeering Misfits victory, not half bad.
The only worry for you when you're pushing Extremity is which side of the map can I get away with right now. That's the gamble, and sometimes it comes down to a read, sometimes it's an informed decision based on what you've seen in previous rounds or what you know about the team. But sometimes it is just a straight up 50-50, whether you want to push B-Apps or Palace in a ramp. Now FNS did get away with this before, so maybe he feels like or knows that Misfits on their default, when they go mid, they just don't pay enough attention to it. And because of that, was able to kick it off that initial underpass kill and smoke off deep B-Apps, which really scares you as a terrorist, knowing that the CTs have so much information, whether they use it or not.
So back to the A site, Misfits look to go. They're going to pick up the pace off of the nades. Devaduvic already starts to charge, but Cutler catches him on the other side of the smoke. And those smokes do still give cover to the T side. Cutler, cowering to the corner, has to get a new mag in. And as he does, Amanek finds safety in connector. Misfits find reassurance in the bomb plant. Now they just have to hang on. With the 2 pistols, 2 Galils, and single Molotov that they've got left to work with. Tech9 down for the count as Finesse starts to come in on mid. Down goes the player from Sandwich as well. Sean Gares gets smushed by Cutler. Smoke grenades come back from CLG, so the retake in full effect. Man traded off of Tetris, body block on the bomb. And Sick can do nothing about this. So there we have it. CLG starting off 0-5. End up walking away with that 1-point lead. Pretty solid CS thus far, as close as could be. And if you guys want to see the rest of this match, you'll have to stay tuned as we take a short break in the half. We'll see ya in a minute.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. ESL Pro League's back in action. CLG versus Misfits. We did just watch Misfits T-side on Mirage. There was a lot of conversation before the game started, Launders, discussing the strategy and execution that Misfits would be applying. Do you think we saw that?
Yeah, we did. I think what was most interesting for me is that their defaults didn't work as well, I think, as they planned to, and they ended up losing an eco round with their default, and they played out a couple of rounds a little bit too slowly, I think, to be comfortable in. And I think if they had just figured that out and stuck maybe more towards their faster executions, which did have the appropriate smokes and so on, not just like straight up run out A ramp or fly out B and look for a frag, they could have won more rounds. They could have definitely had like maybe an 11-4 half overall. I'd say it seemed like the game was based around how well Misfits decided to play out the round, as opposed to how many answers CLG had for them as CTs. Duel-wise, I think Cutler is having a good game. 94 ADR, just like he did yesterday. Ethan as well, excuse me, 93.7. Devaduvic, however, has a stellar 122, and it's for me, when you get past that 100 ADR mark, that you're really talking about exceptional performance that we see on a consistent basis. And Shazam obviously is the opper putting in work as well.
I can't help but feel like there was those 2 rounds, round number 9 and round number 11. That's the time where Misfits lose to the clock on the A bomb site, and then the 11th when Rikke gets that 3K off of the Deagle. Those 2 kinds of one-off rounds really allowed for CLG to come back into the game. The majority of their victories come in that later half, and so you know, that was really a momentous opportunity. That was, you know, they have that 1 round in between the 2 mistakes that kind of offsets Misfits. It really puts them in a tough spot. Their economy gets hit twice, and then CLG walk away with, you know, a couple victories towards the end. So I think you're absolutely right in saying that that could have been a much more one-sided half, and now we have a very real game on our hands.
It's really funny. Rikke only has 27 ADR when he had that 3-kill Deagle round. That made him look like he was the sickest player in the server. He's got 4 kills in total. That's great. You know, CLG don't have that many rounds, so every single one was important. Funny though, we look at it that half and CLG numerically won it, but didn't feel like it.
No, it really didn't.
Just didn't feel like it.
I feel ya there. Devaduvic on the CT side's got himself the smoke kit. It's Ethan to set the execution for the terrorists, all of which have grouped up towards the A site. Devaduvic to the back of the ticket. Spots bodies on the cross, but it's Rikke with a Deagle in the pistol to send a message as FNS sends Sick packing and puts the T side in a 5v3 after plant. A little totem pole inside the jungle could catch the rotators off guard, but Misfits taking their time to get this retake rolling.
Well, they're kind of both abusing the exact same pistol take where this bomb is getting planted front triple for Connector and they're taking control of it in a slightly different way. Here we have them, wow, just dropping off the totem pole and pushing Connector as well as Jungle. Cutler getting 2 headshots, very nicely done. And yeah, Misfits gave up that plant just like CLG did for them, and there you have it, the terrorists win. The only way that you can have, I guess one of the lesser played spots is a CT for the pistol round would be on Cat, and that would have directly affected their ability to plant in front of triple. I'm not sure if they had a smoke to go down in front of it though, if they had the identical strategy or not. Didn't get eyes on that. But regardless, here is CLG buying a couple of Galils, which I strongly encourage against at all times in any round, any situation in life. Do not buy a Galil. I don't know if they're good in real life, but in Counter-Strike, they are definitely worse.
You also talked about trying to avoid mid versus pistols.
Yeah, I don't like mid versus pistols. Cat has a really nice tight angle right here that's so friendly to Deagles. And a window, you can cover most of your body and barely show any of your camera and get a headshot top mid. Connector has the same thing where you can peek from the left or right side of Connector or stand inside Connector and have a bait. I don't really see the value. The value actually comes from the long range that you get with rifles, which makes sense. But you know, with guns like Deagles and people's abilities to have perfect crosshair placement, it makes it a lot harder.
A little bit of a late execute from CLG into the B site, so just looking to group up and force their way in. Shazam dealing damage, but falling regardless, as Sick does the same. The HP tells us a story that could have gone either way, but regardless, it's CLG with a bomb plant to follow suit. Kusta, not feeling safe, goes to the corner as Cutler takes the kill onto Sean Gares and leaves Devaduvic alone. CZ in hand could look for an exit at this point, but going back to that you know, mid play with the rifles versus pistols, I know that Yanko is somebody who has the same sentiment as you. While you can use that range at an initial advantage, it's once you get closer to those choke points that things can really go the other way. I also think that if you're emphasizing middle control with those rifles, it gives a really good opportunity for CTs to get aggressive towards A ramp. And that's a position where if you have CTs forward and you are able to take Connector towards the A site, you almost get boxed in. Like, I feel like it feels natural to go there, but it can lead to some really weird situations.
Certainly. And some people are worried about pushing out a tight choke points versus pistols, and that makes sense, but as long as you can trade those kills, it's okay, which is something that's also very difficult at mid, where you have 3 choke points, and as far as ways they are, they can be played in a multitude of ways by 3 different CTs all at once, which is more than annoying sometimes. Sometimes it does cost you the round. And also you have to use smokes to section out these choke points just like you would on a rifle round, which makes things more complicated. I think they hear all these footsteps.
Yes. A sea of bodies on the bomb site. It's going to be CLG to try to submerge them all. as they can. Misfits still with 2 players up, both of which inside of Palace. Cutler has his attention trained upon it. It was him who actually caught the flank in the last round, so maybe tasked with keeping eyes to the backside. But it's Ethan to take the plant. So Misfits try to put up a fight. Another round where they get a single kill and deal some damage, but ultimately it looks like Misfits are done in this one.
Yeah. Even though they only have P250s, people are wondering why don't they just go for the kills. And that's because they have to give up a kill reward if they die. And further, they are probably going to rebuy these P250s. So there's not a lot of sense in it if the fight is really like a 90-10 engagement, when you could maybe go for another angle and find something closer to a 50-50. Sean Gare's getting a kill. They're going to try to recover a gun, gets a headshot off on Cutler, but isn't able to do 100 damage, dies. Teammates for Counter Logic Gaming as we move out of that eco round into a rifle. Misfits are not going to be able to afford an op, which it's unfortunate. They Shazam made a conscious decision that on that first eco round that you wanted to buy armor, and that takes away from his ability to buy an op now. But that's just like an individual choice. There's nothing about the way the rounds played out that has changed that ability now.
We'll see if that comes back to bite him. It's not just an op they're lacking, but utility on top of that. Already down to just 4 grenades. Single smoke, frag, double flash. On the other side, we've got a full set of grenades for near everyone, and it's for that reason that we start to see them throw them towards B. A smoke grenade that bounces off about 17 surfaces. Ethan able to set it towards the end. Does push Amanek back, but CLG are not going to execute off of this, not just as of yet.
CT's playing really static right now, absolutely no information. Sean's all the way back, and Kathy's getting smoked out, leaving one person here to fight.
It's going to be Amanek, and he loses his fight as Ethan takes his head. Sean prepared to go barreling forward, but Finesse hides inside the corner. This might go unchecked. Would allow for him to find frags. He does catch Sick already. Sean there to trade it back, and he does. But now it's Ricky who gets tagged up to the side of the bench. Lots of players up close for the retake. But who's going to find that opening? Another fire forces the feet of Sean, but Devin Duvek's taken 2 and 3. And so it's all on Kusta. He throws down the smoke. He does have the cover, but not much health to work with. So a 4K on Devin Duvek allows for him to get the frags, and also a very close defuse.
Oh, wow, if Kusa actually had not peeked in that situation, that bomb would have just exploded. Even if he had waited to die, because they waited for it to kill him before they tried to defuse it again, and I don't think they had a kit ready. Devo Duvek moving in hard on these headshots. Oh my god. I didn't even realize it was this brutal. But it seemed like up until that moment there was absolutely no way they could win. The B side on Mirage is extremely hard to retake, and they did an excellent job of dealing with all of those pretty good after flank spots, even having the off-up and apps. No one on a big flank or anything like that. Pretty good stuff from Misfits. CLG, however, because they did a good job on their anti-ecos, have another buy, are going to be throwing some smokes and making some noise. All of them running out of Palace, and then you hear multiple sets of footsteps. And I'm not sure why they gave up that much information with so much time left on the round, but they haven't actually made a play off of it or made it that much utility in response.
Having thrown a couple players towards mid, beginning of this round, they've already started to double back towards the A site. But this could be another moment where they try to execute forward only to hit a brick wall. It actually looks like Misfits want to get a little aggressive. Kusta is posted up, and he is successful in taking that 5v4. Sick, who was looking to support Devaduvik, gets ripped off of the angle. Devaduvik holds his ground until he's pushed back. Shazam will have 0 targets towards Palace as there's 4 players on ramp and a single man in mid. Finesse looking to creep in. He gets spotted from the top of the window. That's Amanek with a frag and a flashbang that connects. Devaduvik tries to spray, and he will deal damage, but he gets taken down as the AWP finds something to work with. Shazam getting aggressive, drops to the AK of Cutler, and that's now a man advantage here for CLG. Bomb unable to cross just yet, but now it certainly will, as Cutler finds another. It's Sean on the fast flank. Kusta in the corner, cleared already, and Sean starts to force his way forward. Of course, Ricky is on 12 HP, so Cutler has to come up big here. And he's gonna get spotted, not that it counts. Sean gets taken down, and it's a 4K from Cutler to put CLG on 12.
Damn, beasting from that first half, having almost 180 yards to definitely continuing that trend. And I think we're gonna take a look at some of these kills from that round as well. Great entry from Cutler to kill Devadubek. Had such a big problem trying to get those kills. Shazam dying looking like he was completely in the smoke, and it's actually a really bad jungle smoke that he might have used as bait there, because knowing that people like to abuse that, and maybe it was in Misfits' mind that CLG had missed it and thought they could get away with a free kill, but we're incorrect about that. I'm clearly feeling confident, even in the last 2v1, low HP on our player under Balk. Cutler knowing that from triple, he's got to deal with Sean moving up at some point, and is like, I have 100 HP, let's take this fight right now. He's really, really feeling it.
So Misfits left with pistols and a scout. One soul flashbang for Shazam, and 4 players grouped up towards that A site. Amanek looking to peek with the Deeg. Could actually catch Kusta. He does, and simultaneously Amanek finds a kill with Shazam. So it's a 5 versus 3 out of nowhere. CLG unable to trade either of those frags. As they start to push in, Finesse almost finds the feet of Shaz. Instead, he looks to chase. And no one's going to see this coming.
Oh man, this is huge. Oh,
goes
wow.
wide.
Kind of fluffs the spray right there, but Ricky gets an entry on A, and then no one's in CT, so they know at maximum one's left here.
Devadubik goes for the spray on the sidearm, taking one, and Ethan trades. Sick, taking to the side of the ticket, then falls next. And so it's a 2-on-2. Shazam trying to body bang the boxes, but no shots connect. The bomb will go down. Shazam closes the gap, Finesse finds his head. Now Amanek's all that's left. He takes the next, that's Ethan. The IGL is all that remains here with 1 HP. He needs this clutch, but no sir, it's all CLG's. A frantic moment made possible by the Deagles. Misfits almost find a robbery, and instead they come up short.
An excellent recovery, very close attempt. Even though it came down to a 1v1, CLG should have almost certainly lost that round. Finesse finding his way through the back window, calling out that Shazam rotated even though he had just made presence. The idea there was that Shazam knows, okay, they realize I'm in window, let me find a new spot to tackle them from, maybe push them into B, which is kind of a gamble, but something you want to do. And after Finesse realized that he had left, decided to look to CT, fluffed a little bit of a spray, but then made presence of his own and got information that now there was no window player he was going to be, and the CT was rotating to B, meaning only one person was at A. This is a good site to hit. So the power of information there, allowing Misfits to, or allowing CLG to win the round. Oh man.
Amanek with another off the Deeg. Certainly making CLG work for these rounds, despite having such huge advantages with the buys.
Oh, FNS just did some dirty work in getting rid of the AK. Only 4 players up, don't want that to be recovered. And they've got to decide now, what site do we want to go to? Devadubek has actually got a little bit frisky at A ramp as well. And on pistol rounds, you can have people push more than one choke point. It's completely justifiable, just because you've got to try to get any kind of advantage you can. Sometimes that means 2 people doing something quote-unquote stupid because they have a lot less to lose, which is scary for the terrorists.
CLG looking to split into the B site, but the forward position from Sean catches him off guard. That's Cutler down for the count, and another 5v3. Of course, the other issue is time. Devadubik looking to come in from behind. He's got himself that ump. Kusta's as well in a very aggressive spot. But now Devadubik looks to collapse down upon the terrorists, finds one off the ump, and then swaps to the sidearm. Sean takes one, and a flawless pistol round from Misfits.
Oh man, it starts with a 1D. FNS up there isn't able to trade it, and then with CLG in a default, Kusta gets in window, says, hey, come A. They run through connector. Devoduvak has already pushed through the player that got aggressive at A ramp, but they didn't go and try to clear out because there wasn't enough people there, and that's the issue of having a default on T side versus an anti-eco, or at least one that sticks too long. And you know, I mean, it's hard to say whether or not they should have died that deagle initially. That's going to happen, but it's kind of what you do in response to getting hit that defines you as a team, and they clearly couldn't find out the appropriate response.
Crazy to think as well, a couple of close rounds, one of which goes the way to Misfits, leaves CLG on only pistols of their own, but clearly they can connect their shots. That's Cutler with one already. Gets tagged down to 5 points of health, but it's still a 5v4 with that bomb planted. Now there is still utility for Misfits to play off of, including some frag grenades. They can use those to soften their targets before they decide to move forward. Kusta up close could find Sean as Rikke hits another headshot. These deagles paying off in dividends as Ethan off the AK takes one, but that's 3 quick kills for Misfits, make it 4. Finesse, all that's left, 1v2. Flashbang goes out, and he peeks with it, taps for the first, but Sean trades it back, and seeing as he has a kit, he's also got no defuse.
Oh my god.
So many close moments on these bombs.
No.
This
oh
time,
my god.
It's CLG's.
Dude, I don't even know. That's another, how many ecos have been won in this game? 4. There we go, analysts on point. 4 ecos won in this game, and I mean, those are, I don't even, I'm not sure exactly. Help me out here. God, please.
It's wild, Lunkers.
It's wild, thank you. Wow.
Let's see if CLG can win another round just by simplifying things. Give up these crazy mid-round rotations, these layered plays, and just group yourselves together.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but like they're fast executes on NT-Eco, straight up B, straight up through A, or just like a full exec A or something much more simple, much easier to trade.
First frag goes untraded for Misfits, but Amanek is able to catch Rikke with the Deeg. Meanwhile, Kusta gets aggressive into the marketplace already, so he gets himself a very forward position, and also spots Devoduvik. Flashbang to allow his retreat. Gets into the corner, but I feel like Devoduvik knows this.
It's funny, and I don't know if they're going to try to attempt here. After poking around a little bit, Devoduvik not getting any more free kills. Getting that 3v3 could initiate them, but it's already too late. Kusta knows that as well, and that's why he got aggressive in the first place, but is going to see them run. But I wonder if it's the problem of, in a situation like this where so many eco rounds are being won, if teams are tiering their executes based on how difficult the round will be. So, for example, oh, we're willing to use a fast execute on this rifle round because we can do a default on a rifle round, a fast execute on a rifle round. But they actually think that an anti-eco is a round that they're more scared of losing and are maybe more prone to losing or just can't figure out why they lose. And so they think, let's do the safest thing possible, and that's a default. And that's almost ironic because it seems that from what we can see and from what I feel about Mirage is that a default can put you in more danger than any other kind of strategy that they've used to win rifle rounds here on T-side. We'll certainly harp on our analysts to try to clear this up for us after, if this match does end. In a situation where Misfits have 2 UMPs, they are low on utility, and CLG have a lot of options and time. Full AKs and mollies for the whole squad.
You can tell how the tension's just kind of fallen across the map. 6 consecutive rounds is what Misfits fighting for. CLG are looking to fight for this bomb site. Meanwhile, Shazam finds the op shot over on B and doubles down. Rikke able to find 1 frag, but Devoduvik feels the pressure and decides to fall off. Catches a frag straight to the forehead, dealing substantial damage. Kusta covers the bomb, which does go down, but Sick finding a quick kill, traded by Ethan. leaving it down to the 2v2 with a health advantage for Amanek and Shazam. Ricky caught in the open, drops immediately so, but Ethan's able to trade with two, and he seals the map on his own. A 3K in the round. They will take it. Not just that one round, but the win on Mirage.
Wow, a 3v5 to end it off. Shazam shuts down the fake in the first 45 seconds of the round, and with 3 players to come out, Palace and A-Ramp, they're still able to do it.
Yeah.
Then with like 20 HP. Good flash. That
very frantic moment there in that last round. And I feel like that was just the name of the game. A lot of those very tense moments and chaotic retakes. But we're going to go ahead and hand this one off to the fellows on the Xfinity analyst desk so that they can unpack what you guys just watched.
What a way to open the evening of Counter-Strike. That was some action-packed. Not always the most beautiful Counter-Strike, but certainly some intense situations. My bald brother Cutler, he's back.
He's having the last 3 games. He's been on fire.
He's been rejuvenated ever since FNS joined this roster. But I think one of the big takeaways that we had watching it was both of these teams are going to need to go back and hit the drawing board when it comes to their anti-ecos, anti-pistol force buys, whatever you want to call it.
There was a total of 4 anti-eco rounds lost, almost 5.
And it certainly caused Misfits a collapse. At a
oh, yeah. Yeah, that 22nd round, or 23rd round, when CLG, I don't know if it was an anti-eco, because CLG kind of forced up everyone except for Kusta full bot with the A exec. But it was a 4-on-2, and they ended up winning with the 2 people remaining. I think you ended up saying that. That was definitely a roller coaster of a match. Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is, again, another good T-side out of CLG. I mean, struggled a little bit to start. Another comeback as well. They were down 6-1 or so. Let's start from the beginning, because I know we had some question marks about this Pistron, Eric. Walker.
So I went through this one. So this is like the canonical A exec, right? So there's 3 smokes that people might throw. So they went with the ticket booth and top connector. But the nice thing they did here is they added a Molotov deep jungle. Right, so it clears out the jungle, and you see Misfits pushing CPL, aka Window Room, and they're gonna get that kit down right there, and they take control of everything.
I think talk us through the idea behind, because I think the important part of that is how much room CLG gives up when, yes, you're playing a retake on the 8-bomb site, but you're giving them so much space, like too much space almost.
Yeah, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan, because the T's are either going to push jungle, connector, or CT, and you need to have a contingency plan for if they push any of those areas. And I don't think that plan was had.
Was had at all. It certainly didn't look like it. Easy win there for Misfits on the Pistron. DeBears, you also had a round that you wanted to highlight Misfits. This is maybe some of the tactical mind of Sean.
So this is round 4. Here they kind of smoke out the end of halls, and now they're doing a flat into B, and they smoke out both spots and get right as they the flashes caused CLG to kind of play a little passive and hide in corners, and it was a nice, just fast little execute by Team Misfits, and they also do the exact same strat on round 10, and it works well. It's like their go-to strat on the map.
Their bread and butter?
Their bread and butter.
Et cetera,
as Hare would say, the old bread and butter strat. I like it.
And actually, I mean, CLG even used a variation of it, or maybe the very similar time with those same smokes over towards Catwalk and towards the Get Right corner, Shadows, which was really, really cool. But, I mean, what are we making of this CLG team? They're now 3-0 in the season. This is a really hot start for them, but they were one of the teams kind of lost, I guess, with the excitement of the Cloud9 roster changes, excitement of Elige possibly leaving Liquid, and just how well Liquid had been playing recently. This is a team that kind of fell a little bit to the wayside, and people being like super excited about them coming into the season.
I think the biggest thing is that people don't see like big names like the other, like C9 and Optic, and so they kind of put them in the back of their mind. But you watch CLG play, they have great communication and teamwork. As you would see in some of the rounds, they would wait for their teammates and peek at the same time. Even if the other team would get the kill, they get a quick exchange and, you know, continue to play. It's really nice textbook CS, and it's fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, the style they play is not counter logic. It's very like smart. Right, they're basically like, we're gonna play by the book, and until you beat us by doing that, we're not gonna add anything on top, right? Like, why would we add bells and whistles to something basic that we could be winning with anyway?
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of one of the big things that we have out of this squad now as well. I mean, well, here's the thing. You also had the Daviduvek and Amanek on the other side, Misfits, the guys you were hyping up. I mean, I know Daviduvek had a couple very good rounds. Amanek with that deep goal was very dangerous. These guys are very skilled. It'll be really cool to see them into the next map. Regardless, if you guys want to get a jersey of any of these teams to sport it off in Odense, at the ESL Pro League Finals, at ESL 1 New York, whatever it might be that you'll be attending, head over to the ESL shop. You can get those jerseys there. We are going to head to a quick break, and when we return, we're going to get Map 2 going for you between CLG and Misfits.